Hey guys, it's Comic Quiz here bringing another comic review, and today I'm going to be doing Superior Spider-Man issue 8. Continuing on from last issue where Spider-Man was about to take on the Avengers, I made a little prediction that I think he actually might beat the Avengers, but it turns out that I was wrong. In the beginning of this issue, it continued on with that fight, but because Peter's interfering with Doc Ock, so he can't concentrate, and in the end, the Avengers get the better of him and they knock him out. They capture him and start performing a brain scan on him, scanning for any anomalies, any unusual things about him. So after when they've completed the tests, they all gather in in a room, and they also get Spider-Man along, who's complaining, saying it's against my civil rights, shouldn't have done that. But I was like, oh, shut up. Captain America reads out the results, and Peter, he's happy about it. He's like, oh, get ready, y'all, you've been caught. But in the end, it turns out that they were scanning for any possibility that Doc Ock might actually be a Skrull. So when Peter heard it, was like, wait, what? No, that's what you're looking for. And Doc Ock was like, well, yeah, I could have told you that. I'm not a Skrull. I mean, nothing wrong with me. So it turns out that they were just looking if he was a Skrull or some other imposter. But when they were looking at the results on his brain patterns, Doc Ock actually noticed there was an anomaly. Something was very off about his brain patterns, and he was the only one that noticed it, and no one else noticed it. So he was like, oh, okay then, well, since you've clearly beaten me up, made a fool out of me, I think the least you can do is give me those results so I can check on them. Which the Avengers, they say, okay, fine then, it's the least we can do. So apparently that anomaly is actually Peter's brain activities going on inside of Doc Ock's mind. And Doc Ock made the point of saying that if Tony Stark or Henry Pym or Hank Pym, I forgot what his name was, Giant Man, if any of them had been there, they probably would have seen it and probably made a point on that. But since none of them were there, Doc Ock got away scot-free. So also what's her name again? Black Widow, yeah. She tries to talk to Peter or Doc Ock, says that you've been acting strangely and it's probably because of the whole Silver Sable thing when she died, and then now you've been harsher, you've been much more you've been so brutal to your enemies, you've even killed Massacre, saying you've got red on your ledger now, which is like that reference that she made in the Avengers movie. So she tries to say that, alright, since I know how it feels to kill somebody, so I'll be here for you if you need me. But while she's talking to him, Peter has tried to take the opportunity to get a message across to her, but he still can't draw properly, so he tries to draw like a little spider and then Doc Ock showing he's controlling his mind. But when Black Widow sees it, she's just like, this is a pretty bad drawing of a spider considering he's Spider-Man. She didn't think of anything of it. So again, no luck for Peter. So later on we see Carly, and we see that she's actually been carrying out her own investigation into who Spider-Man really is, and she knows for a fact that that's not Peter. So she calls somebody, but we don't know who it is, and she says that she's pretty confident that he's not Spider-Man, that something's wrong here, but she doesn't have enough evidence to take this public or to show anybody else. So she tells this person in confidence, but we don't know who the person is. He's like hidden in the shadows. So she's told this person that she knows that she's pretty confident that that's not Spider-Man. So this at least now that Carly's actually taking much more further steps to discovering who the Superior Spider-Man really is, because we didn't really see much of Carly for the past maybe 5 issues. It's like issue 3, maybe 4 when we last saw her with the whole Vulture thing. So it's nice to see that her investigation is now taking more development and actually shares information with somebody else. So Doc Ock later gets back to his lab. He starts carrying out some tests of his own, and also he starts looking at the data from the Avengers that they gave him, and he's trying to figure out that in order to better get a grasp of what's going on inside of his head, he needs to get that brain modulator thing that Cardiac stole from the previous issue. So he uses his spider tracer that he left on him, and he goes to the hospital and he breaks in, and he starts beating the crap out of Cardiac, even messing up the facility itself. And Cardiac trying to plead with him, like, why are you doing this? That there are sick people here, yet you're just doing all this nonsense for yourself. So then Doc Ock finds the brain modulator, and it's on a little girl who has brain damage, and he's even willing to take it from her and use it for himself. That's just how selfish he is. And Peter's trying to stop him, saying, no, I won't let you do this. Like, you really are messed up if you're just going to take this thing from this little girl just because you need it yourself. But Doc Ock trying to justify himself. Like, he can hear Peter now, but he still doesn't know that actually Peter at the moment. So he's like, no, I'm in the right. It's stolen equipment, and that's what I do. I retrieve stolen things. So then Cardiac's trying to say, like, no, that I'm using this to fix one of Doc Ock's mistakes. That back when he tried to fry the world, like kill the entire world by destroying the ozone layer back in the world end of the Earth's story arc, this little girl got brain damage because of it. And when Doc Ock heard this, he starts feeling bad. So he takes it upon himself to carry out the operation on this little girl, because he's the only one who can actually use that brain modulator properly. So he locates the area of her brain which is damaged. Then he carries out the surgery himself, and in the end, the girl lives. So after this, Doc Ock starts feeling good about himself. He's like, I helped somebody, and he feels pretty good about this. Even Cardiac's congratulating him on this, saying that anything you need, I'm always here for you. And Spider-Man and Doc Ock's likewise. He's like, yeah, I misjudged you. I shouldn't have been so aggressive and forceful. And he apologized. And even that little girl, now she's a Spider-Man fan. And she also gives her old toy to Doc Ock, which really gives Doc Ock a sense of achievement. Like, he's really done something good inside, which I like to see, because now we can see that Doc Ock is really changing. Like, even though he does have his tendencies to be all about him, he's egotistical, selfish, and self-important, we can see that, yeah, as he has been living in the life of Peter Parker, he's been changing little by little. And we can see this in this issue that he really starts to feel like there are rewards that come with this whole hero gig, other than just being praised by people. Like, it feels good to actually help somebody. So yeah, then he makes a deal with Cardiac, and Cardiac gives him back the device, but Doc Ock said he'll return it later when he's done. So he gets back to his lab and uses it on himself. Then he's able to locate that, and you find out that Peter's actually still in his head. So when Peter's like, oh, don't get all cheery with yourself, Doc Ock, I'm still going to get back. Then he's like, no, Peter, you won't. And Peter's like, wait, you can hear me now? And he's like, I can now. So then he explains that apparently all the memories of Peter Parker that are left inside of his head are actually taking on a life of its own, and that's the reason why that ghost Peter is around, because actually, like, all his memories turning into his actual personality. So then Doc Ock tells his robot and says, get the equipment ready, I'm going to perform a Peter ectonomy, which is now, looks like it's going to remove Peter from his mind. Which, again, in the last issue, I did say that if Doc Ock actually finds Peter, it's going to go bad for him. I don't think he'll survive this, because if you think about it, looking at Peter Parker's luck all through his life with all the issues of Spider-Man, he's not had the best of luck. Any opportunity the writers take to screw with him, they will do it. So I think this might actually be it for Peter Parker. I think they actually might get rid of him. But also, I'm hoping that maybe he'll be able to survive this, but it's not really looking good for him. So in the next issue, they said that it's going to be the Superior versus Amazing, which is definitely going to be about, I'm predicting it's going to be more about taking place inside of Peter's mind, and it's going to be a battle of willpower between who has right to be in that body, and I think Doc Ock might actually come out on top. So yeah, that's it from this review. That's it for this review, guys. I give this an 8.5. It was a very good issue. I like the character development that Doc Ock's been taking so far. You really do see that he is changing the more and more he is the more and more he has been Spider-Man. I liked the fact that whole Carly thing has been developing. Like, finally we actually see that somebody's actually noticed that he's not the real Spider-Man. Because the Avengers, they were like kind of like suspicious, but in the end that turned out to be nothing. After all last issue, we're getting high. They finally realized, nope, they thought he might have been a Skrull. I'm like it's like one step forward for Peter Parker and 3 steps back. They find out, no, there's something wrong with this guy. And they're like, no, it's fine, it's just a misunderstanding. So yeah, I like that all this has been developing, and I can't wait for 2 weeks time, because I want to see what's going to happen, because it's not looking good for Peter at all. He's at a disadvantage. And so far, only person who knows that Doc Ock's not the real Peter Parker is Carly. but she doesn't have enough evidence at the moment to even prove this, so who knows what's going to happen to Peter. So yeah, like I said, I give this an 8.5, and this is it for this review, guys. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. Comment down below and tell me what you thought of this issue, and also don't forget to like this video, favorite, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. This has been Comic Quiz, signing out, guys. See ya.